Now we have Dr. Elise Barnes, who is someone I work with very closely and I adore. She is our fabulous facilitator for the Career Gateway program and offers LinkedIn training as part of the Career Tech program as well. Dr. Barnes is an accomplished LinkedIn trainer, communication strategist, and workforce educator, teaching age 50 plus job seekers how to harness the power of LinkedIn for job searches, career transitions, encore entrepreneurship, and nonprofit leadership. She's the owner, CEO, and lead trainer of A Certain Vintage Workforce Education, LLC. Dr. Barnes is a graduate of the Senior Leadership Montgomery Program, Yale College, Stanford Law School, and The Ohio State University, and is a member of the International Association of Workforce Professionals and the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals. We welcome Elise to our expo today, and we're excited to hear from Elise. Her topic is why the search box, not the job board, is the most useful LinkedIn feature for job seekers. And this is quite well needed for today's discussion. So take it away, Elise.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Glad to be here. It's been a while, actually. I think it's been a couple years actually since I've done a presentation for the expo. And so it's good to be back in the Zoom room and to see all of you taking advantage of this great resource. Again, why I love living in Montgomery County, that we have opportunities like this, particularly for our 50 and better community. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with LinkedIn, and most of you, many of you think of it as a job board, but it is so much more than that. And we really want to talk about the other feature that is particularly important for our job seekers, which is using the search features. So let's get moving here. Okay. All right. So again, good morning, everyone. I do small group LinkedIn trainings and partnerships with public libraries, career and business development organizations, and nonprofits nationwide. My focus is on job seekers, career transitioners, nonprofit leaders, and small business owners, 45 and better, 50 and better, and my goal is to help them get the most impact out of 30 minutes on LinkedIn a day, which is what I recommend if you're a job seeker or small business owner or career transitioner or nonprofit leader. And I try to teach in a way that respects the online privacy and security concerns that many of us who are not digital natives, who are not comfortable putting what we're eating, what we're drinking, where we're shopping, where we're vacationing on the web, which our younger counterparts seem to be comfortable doing. Since I started my business in 2016, I've had the pleasure of doing trainings for a lot of organizations throughout the United States, universities, libraries, business development, career development organizations. I heartily endorse what Angela said about considering going into business for yourself. I had thought I was going to be on somebody's payroll my entire life. I discovered entrepreneurship. I was kind of pushed into it, but I will never go back. It was absolutely the best decision I ever made. All right, so let's talk about LinkedIn. For my LinkedIn skeptics out there, what I usually realize they're skeptical because they have misconceptions about LinkedIn. And the first is that it's just your resume and a photo online, that it's your online resume. It's just your online resume with a photo attached. The second misperception is that it is only about employers finding and connecting with you. I want to be found. So I want somebody to find me. Okay. And that is a big misperception. And then the third is that all you have to do is create the perfect profile with all the right keywords, and recruiters are going to be knocking down your door. That magic fairy dust recruiter is going to come and save you from having to do a job search because you have the right words and you just have to find the right words. And when you have paid someone a lot of money or something to create these profiles for you that have the right words, and then recruiters are not knocking down your door, then it's, oh, LinkedIn doesn't work. It hasn't really been helpful to me. So, what you need to understand is that LinkedIn is a giant global database of valuable information at your fingertips. It's a database that you have access to. Even when you are not paying for premium, you still have access to this giant global database. And that is the real value of LinkedIn because the real power of LinkedIn is not in who finds you, but in who you find. Because the best way to find a job is for the person who would be your potential immediate supervisor to send your application to HR with a note saying, I want to hire Chris. What do I need to do? That's a job you're going to get unless you're just wildly unqualified. The second best way, and again, this is particularly true for those of us who are older, just throwing out resumes is not going to get you the job. People don't hire resumes. That's why the interview is necessary. Okay, but it's not you're not even going to get the interview if you're just throwing resumes over the transom, right? It's like playing the lotto. The odds are against you. Yes, somebody is going to win, but millions are not. Okay. So the second best way is for someone who works at the company to send your application to HR with a note saying, I know we're looking for a deputy director or a marketing director or a administrative person, whatever the role is. And I went to school with, or I worked with, or I volunteered with Dana, and she was great. Best marketing director I ever worked with. Would you give her application extra consideration? If nothing else, just out of professional courtesy, they're going to give your application a good hard look, and you're probably going to get an interview. You're probably going to get through at least the first screen because there is someone internal to the company that's going to ask what happened, right? What happened with my friend Dana's application? How did, you know, and so they're going to track you and consider you, give you that extra consideration. Because we hire and do business with people we know, like, and trust. Employers want to minimize their risk of a bad hire the same way you want to minimize your risk of getting into a bad work situation. So, how do you become one of those people that the employer knows, likes, and trusts? Because the friend of my friend is my friend. That principle operates even in work settings. So, how do you find someone to introduce you as a friend? Well, by using the LinkedIn search features to search for, then connect with those people. So, because we're talking about the importance of connecting with people, I want to make sure that everyone understands the LinkedIn relationships. You are a first degree connection with someone when you have invited them to connect and they accepted your invitation, or they invited you to connect and you accepted their invitation. That is the only way you can become a first degree connection to someone. And once you do, you get all the rights and privileges that go along with being a first degree connection to someone. You can see their contacts. You can endorse them for their skills. They can endorse you for yours. You can send messages, unlimited messages to them using LinkedIn as basically an email server. Whatever they post will appear on your feed. Whatever you interact with will appear on their feed. You can write recommendations for them. So there are lots of rights and privileges that go along with being a first degree connection. You are a second degree connection to someone if you have a mutual first degree connection in common. You're not connected to each other, but you are both first degree connections to the same person. And so you don't have all the rights and privileges that go along with being a first degree connection, but you do have a common connection between the two of you, somebody that you're both connected to. And you could leverage that into perhaps becoming a first degree connection with that person by saying, oh, I see we're both connected to Angela. Let's connect. Then third degree connections are the connections of the second degree connection, the person that you're not connected to, but you have a mutual connection with. The first degree connection with their connections will then be third degree to you because that person is second degree to you. You can also be in relationship on LinkedIn with people by virtue of being in the same group. That doesn't mean you automatically become a first degree connection to everyone in that group, but it does mean that whatever's posted in that group, you will know about, whereas people who are outside of the group will not know what's going on inside the group, what's being posted by the group. So in your notifications, you'll see information about what's being posted within the group. And that's a notification that people who are outside the group do not get. And then you can follow people. And this just means that whatever they post will be on your home feed. You're not connected to them. You can't send messages to them, but You don't have to go to their page to see what they're posting, what they're interacting with. You can follow companies, you can follow company pages, university pages, and it just means that whatever they post is going to automatically be on your feed. All right, so I want to make a disclaimer here because LinkedIn is ever evolving and always changing as Microsoft seeks to maximize profits for their shareholders and provide value to their true clients, the employers and the advertisers that pay them. Okay, so you should always remember that since the vast majority of LinkedIn members, and there are over 1 billion, they most of them are not paying to use it. Therefore, LinkedIn's decisions regarding transparency and functionality are not based on what is best for or preferred by us because we are ultimately not their real customers. It is the advertisers and the employers. So there are lots of things we would like to know about how LinkedIn functions. There are lots of things that they do that we don't agree with or are not happy about, but ultimately we're not their customers because most of us are not paying for it. All right. So there are some limits in terms of what you can do when you're searching. So as of 2026, LinkedIn does not publicly disclose the exact number of searches that are allowed with a free account, which is what most people have. But based on user reports and industry benchmarks for 2026, free users typically reach a commercial use limit message where LinkedIn says you have reached the commercial use limit. You should now pay for premium if you want to do more searches. That's usually after approximately 250 searches per month. Now, that seems like a lot, but in the next slides, I will explain what they consider searches. So it's actually very easy to run through them because there's a lot of things that you and I may not consider searches, but the LinkedIn counter considers those searches. Okay. This limit is tracked monthly and resets on the first of each calendar month at midnight Pacific Standard Time. So even within your allowed searches, free accounts can only view up to 1,000 profile results, meaning 100. These are, when you click on or when you put something in the search box and 10 um, profiles or thumbnails of people's profiles come up. Each one of those pages is counted, and you can only see 100 of those pages in within that search for a single search query. So 1,000 for any single search query. So it's limited, right? And it's generally safe to view 80 to 100 profiles per day. Exceeding this can raise red flags and lead to temporary restrictions on your account. But again, most of us are not looking at 80 to 100 profiles per day. But again, it's something to keep in mind as you are searching. So let's talk about activities that do not constitute activities that are part considered searches. Browsing your first degree connections from the connections page. That is not considered counted against that 250 per month limit. Searching for jobs on the jobs page and looking up a specific person using the search bar at the top of the page. So typing in a specific person's name to go to their profile is not counted against that 250 mark. Now, these are activities that are counted against the 250 per month limit. Browsing LinkedIn profiles using the People Also Viewed section located in the right panel of a profile. So if you have on your profile, if it says People Also Viewed and you start looking at those, that's considered searching if you start clicking on those. Viewing member profiles on the People tab of a LinkedIn company page. Searching for second and third degree connections, searching specifically for employees of a particular company, and browsing profiles of people outside of your network. Okay. All of those, each time you do that, that counts against that 250. Okay. So again, it's very easy to rack up these if you're, really trying to research a company, find someone within a company, you can reach that 250 per month limit. Again, most people are not using LinkedIn to that degree. but it is something to be aware of. So the big question then becomes, well, should I get premium or not? And certainly with premium plans, you do get some extra things like more in-mails, or these are messages that you send to someone who is not a first degree connection. You cannot do that with the free program. With the free account, you cannot send messages to people who are not first degree connections. You used to have a limited number that you could send, but they changed that. Um, you have more connection invitations per week and more notes per month. So now you know with the free, you are limited to 5 notes per month that you can send accompanying your invitations. So you get more of those if you pay for premium, and you can send more invitations to connect. You also have the ability to do more and more complex searches without hitting the commercial use limit. Okay, and that's important for this particular presentation. And then you see 90 days of who viewed your profile as opposed to the last 3 people who viewed your profile. Also, if you would take advantage of the free trial, remember it's only free every 13 months. If you accept the free trial within 13 months, you're going to have to pay. So my bottom line is whether you pay for premium or not is don't pay until you begin to consistently bump up against the limits of what you can do for free. If right now you're not getting that message saying you've reached the commercial use limit for the month and you're going to have to wait until the first of the month, or you should buy premium. If you're not consistently getting that message, then your searching is not a problem. You're not doing enough searches to trigger anything within LinkedIn that would make it, something you should pay for. All right. So there are different types of searches. So there's the keyword search using the search box. So here's the real magic of LinkedIn. The magic, again, isn't in who finds you, but it's in who you can find using the search box. So I'm going to actually go to LinkedIn and go through this, but I just want to point out how you can use every one of these bubbles. Each one has valuable information. Each of these buttons has valuable information you can use to find those people, to train, to get more training, to follow companies, to learn more about companies, to do company exploration, to grow your network or your connections and network within a field maybe you haven't been in before. So if you type something into the search box, a topic into the search box, and then click on people, you can then do informational interviews with these people. It identifies people in that area for you, and this will help you expand your network maybe into a field you haven't been in before, but also to be able to get insider information from these people, learn about their career journey as you move into this field and get their recommendations, their advice about maybe what additional education to pursue or what to focus on, what areas they think are growing, so that you're not sort of wasting your time spinning your wheels, maybe chasing something, a profession that is dying, right? Then you can take that same topic and click on the posts. And you can discover who the top voices are, what the hot topics are, expand your network, including having maybe these top voices become potential mentors and champions for you. Then you can select companies and visit the company page and then their website, and then follow them to find out what they're posting on social media as their public face and what their priorities are so that you can mimic that back to them when you apply, or interview. And then you can select jobs, not to apply for the jobs, but to see what the keywords in the job announcements are to make sure that you have those keywords on your profile as well, but also see what kind of credentials, what kind of qualifications you need to be competitive. It can also be useful to see synonyms for the type of job you're looking for so that you can expand your search by looking at other titles other than just the ones that you normally type into the search box when you're looking for jobs. So there are other ways of describing the position that you're looking for. And then with groups, Once you ask to join the group, you can engage with the people in these groups. And the great thing about LinkedIn groups is most of them do not require any sort of experience. They just require interest in the topic. So again, this is a great way if you're, especially if you're moving into a new field, to grow your network where you might not know people in this field, and become a part of that community. And because known is always safer and more attractive than the unknown. Also, people post jobs within groups that only the people within the group know about because they can do that for free as opposed to on the briefcase tab on LinkedIn, the jobs tab. So again, this might mean you're competing against a smaller pool of people. And then you can click the course button and discover courses that are being offered. And this demonstrates that you're a lifelong learner, which addresses one of the stereotypes of older workers. This demonstrates it rather than you just saying it. But then you could also connect with the instructors, learn from them, have them become perhaps mentors, guides, that kind of thing. And then also attend, link, click on the events because there are online events going on LinkedIn all the time. You can attend the events to learn more about the topic, to connect with the presenters, and to expand your network by connecting with the other people who attended the event. So there are also other kinds of searches, like mining your first degree connections, because once you connect with someone, you should be able to see their connections unless they've turned that feature off, which is considered rude in LinkedIn culture to turn that off, because the whole point of being on LinkedIn is to connect. But generally, you should be able to see the connections of your connections, and then you can use filters as you're looking at those connections to streamline your search if you're looking for people with a particular skill set or who work at a particular company. So filters can help you narrow down within your connections, connection, within those group of people who are connected to that person, you can find the people that you're looking for by using filters. You can also visit company pages and use the people tab and then filters to find people who are in the local area, people who went to maybe a school you went to. So there are lots of different filters you can use to figure out who within the company has some synergy with you, some point of connection. They went to the same school, they're from the same place, they majored in the same thing. There are lots of different filters you could use to find those people, which would then mean that when you reach out to them, you're not a stranger, you have something in common. And you can do the same thing with school pages using the alumni tab and then adding filters. All right. Now, you can also use Boolean logic to narrow searches. So, for example, if you're looking for an exact phrase, you can enclose it in quotes. So, for example, you can type product manager, and only those people who have product manager will come up because that's the exact phrase that you're looking for. Okay. Then you can use a Boolean logic to rule out words. So if you type not in capital letters immediate after search term to exclude it from your search results. So for example, you could say program but not manager, programmer, not manager. Okay, so manager would then be excluded. You can use or to see results that include one or more items in a list, which broadens your search results. So you could say sales or marketing or advertising. So all of those will come up because sometimes positions or people use different terminology for the same thing. And then you could use and, again, in all capital letters, to limit your search results so that it is accountant and finance and CPA, that all of those are included in the people who come up when you type that into the search box. Um, you can then use parentheticals searches to combine terms. So combine terms with parentheses to build complex logic. For example, VP not assistant or senior vice president. Parentheses are the only group symbols LinkedIn recognizes, so you can't use square brackets or curly braces or angle brackets. You don't want to use those. You really just only want to use parentheses. Okay, so here's the order of preference in terms of um, Boolean searches. The quotes is primary, and then parentheses is next, and then not, is applied after parentheses and quotes are resolved, and then and is evaluated after not, but before or, and then or is the lowest priority in terms of Boolean logic. Okay. So if you use any of those, the computer is going to look for the quoted phrases first, then things in parentheses, and then not, and then it's going to go to and then it's going to go to or. Okay. All right. So we're going to go to LinkedIn now and see how it works. Okay. So let me stop sharing this and go to LinkedIn. Okay. So, let me just see here. Can you see my LinkedIn page, my LinkedIn profile page, Jody? Or is it
Yes.
okay? All right. I just want to make sure it's still not on my PowerPoint. Okay. All right. So here's what I was talking about in terms of searches. So let's just say we're going to go with cyber security. All right. So here's what I was talking about, where you are can go through and click on each tab for the information that it provides. So see these bubbles here? If I click on, and again, my search, I've typed cybersecurity into the search. If I click on people, these are the people who have cybersecurity in their headline or in the description of their current position or their skill set or in their, and LinkedIn searches through all of them. It looks at the headline, it looks at the about section, it looks at their current position, looking for that word, okay? Cybersecurity, okay? And so then you will see all the people who have that on their profile in those sections, okay? You can then use at filters, you can look at whether they are already a first degree connection, whether they're only second degree connection. So for example, if I used only first show results, these are only showing my first degree connections who have cybersecurity as their skills or in their headline or in their about section or in their experience section. It searches all the sections looking for that keyword. Okay. So that's just people. Okay. So I'm going to reset. All right. So again, you could then click on jobs for cybersecurity. And again, not to apply for them, but to look for the keywords. Posts. So you can just go down the line to gather all the information. Who's been posting about cybersecurity? What have they been saying? What's the hot topic? What current openings are people posting in on their page as opposed to perhaps on this jobs tab? Okay. Then companies. Okay. Cybersecurity companies. These are companies you can follow, and it'll tell you if someone from your university works there, right? You can see how many other people are following that page, right? You can find out, go to the company page, find out information about that company. Groups, cybersecurity groups. There are lots of groups on LinkedIn. This one has 680,000 members. This one has 270,000 members. This is a great way to grow your network by joining groups and being an active member in those groups, connecting with the people in those groups, because these are private groups. Again, only the people who are in the groups know about what's going on within these groups. So again, there are lots of different groups on any potential topic you could possibly name on LinkedIn. Okay, courses, cybersecurity courses on LinkedIn. Okay. And again, who's teaching them? What are they saying? This is a great way to, and it'll tell you the time to complete, the difficulty level. You can factor by that. I only want beginner courses. I only want advanced courses. Okay. Again, this is a wealth of information. Are there any cybersecurity events going on LinkedIn that you can attend? This one has 109 attendees. Okay. So you can, again, use this database to educate yourself, cybersecurity products, right? Okay, again, this is a learning tool for you. You can then, these companies, who are these companies that have these cybersecurity products? Do they have any job openings? Are there people there who work there that could be an internal champion for you? Could be an informational interview for you, okay? And then cybersecurity services, who's selling their cybersecurity services if you need an expert, and then schools. Okay. So again, you can do this with any topic on LinkedIn. You can just type that into the search box and go through button by button, category by category. Okay. But then you can also do searches by company. Um, so so you can go to the company page. No, I don't want people. I want the companies. There we go. So if you go to the company page, you will see every company page has a people tab. See right here? About the company, posts from the company, jobs at the company, life at the company, people. And it opens up this chart and it shows where they live, where they studied, what they do, what they're skilled at, what they studied, and how you are connected to people who work there. And then you can type in certain terms. If you're only looking for people with certain titles, you can put that in the search box as a filter. Again, if you were, say, only looking for people who worked in the Washington, D.C. area, who work at World Bank, say you see that a lot of them went to George Washington University. If you went there as well, you could then limit it from 14,000 to just the people who went to Georgetown, who are at the World Bank in the Washington, D.C. area. Then maybe you studied economics at Georgetown as well. So then that brings it even down even further to 98, right? And then if you have a second degree connection, those 10 people will be here. And then you can reach out to them based on the fact that you are mutually connected to Anne or Paul or Vera, or you can just reach out based on the fact that you went to Georgetown and that you were an economics major. Okay. So again, these are the search features that allow you to find people who can be helpful to you in your job search so that you are not just some random person throwing resumes over the transom. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop this and okay, go back to my PowerPoint. All right. Okay, so my final slides here. So now get on to the road to success using LinkedIn search features and connect with me on LinkedIn. Here is my contact information. If you would like to email me, you can do so. I do 20-minute LinkedIn consultations. Oh, my Calendly's not on there, but you can go to my website and ask for a 20-minute consult there. And that is my presentation.
Oh,
And I'm
great.
sure there are questions in the chat.
Yes, 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 yes. And thank you. And again, Elise is our facilitator for the 5 day career gateway. And so if you want to hear more from Elise, she's fabulous and she is terrific in our program. So always plug to promote Elise and our career gateway program. Anyway, so Elise, we have many questions.
I'm
We will
sure.
start. We will start here. How do we make sure that such connections or friends are safe and serious in LinkedIn?
Um, Safe and serious. Um, I, I, I I don't know exactly what that means, in terms of your definition of what is serious. If you are saying only people who are within your network or for certain are going to help you, We have no guarantees in life about any of those things. Um, so, if they don't respond to you, that's probably an indication that you need to move on. Um, there are bots, but generally bots are not verified, don't respond, don't, I mean, you have to do your homework no matter what. So you need to
Hmm.
look at their page if someone invites you to connect to see, are they posting? Is it complete? Do you have any mutual connections? All of those things matter.
That's yeah.
So you
Thank
have to
that's
do your homework.
right. That's good. Let's see. If you post that you are open for work, how do you ensure that your current employer does not see it?
Okay, so if you are deathly afraid of your current employer not knowing that you're looking for a position, can you see linked? What are you seeing on the screen?
We're seeing your page.
My LinkedIn page? Great.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So when you say here, open to finding a new job, and you put this banner, the frame around your headshot, all LinkedIn members, that means the world knows. So you don't want to use that banner if you are deathly afraid of your employer finding. I mean, so definitely do not use the hashtag open to work. Now, LinkedIn says they do have this recruiters features limited to people who use LinkedIn Recruiter. But
Hmm.
if your company uses or people in your company use LinkedIn Recruiter, they might see you. Now, LinkedIn says while we take steps not to show recruiters at your current company, we can't guarantee complete privacy. So you're taking a risk by clicking on the recruiters only. You can't sue LinkedIn. This is their way of covering their butts. So if you are deathly afraid of that, I say don't use either one. Do not put any sort of, do not click any one of these buttons if that is if you are deathly afraid of that happening.
Okay. Um, let's see. It seems that I am locked out of my LinkedIn and I am required to provide number from the Authenticator app that I do not have. Thoughts?
If you are locked out, um, let's see if it's down here at the bottom. What I recommend you do is start a help ticket to figure out why you are locked out. Um, Go to help, ask a question, scroll down to the bottom. Let's see. Let me just open this up here. Usually there is a um here we go. Start a chat or contact us. So you want to start a chat, create a support ticket so that you can begin to query
Mhm.
LinkedIn and get to a person, right? Because the first thing they're going to do is start showing you videos and say, oh, here's an explanation. And so there's no human being. They're trying to sort of move you. They're trying to keep from having to have a person interact with you by having you look at all the information that's available on LinkedIn. But you need to get to a person. And so you can either start a chat or start a help desk ticket so that you can get to someone who can then actually look at your account and figure out why they're restricting your account. What rule have you violated?
Okay. Okay. Having found a person within a company who might recommend you, how do you use that to get them to recommend you? As a developer, having anyone from outside the company contact me was either annoying, suspicious, or both phishing campaigns were always a concern.
People are more willing, there are more people willing to help us than we think there are because it feels good to be able to help someone. Now, people in HR are being bombarded with people. So your goal is really to find the line manager, to find the person who works in the department, to see if they are willing to help you. And it usually helps if you come by way of someone that they know, not some random stranger. But there have been cases, and we know of these, where people have not, but even then, they usually came through someone they know. So, for example, we had a case where a person wanted to work at a pharmaceutical company but had no background in pharmaceuticals, but she felt that she had skills that would be useful there. Her brother knew someone who worked at a pharmaceutical company and said, "Will you just talk to my sister about her interest in working at a pharmaceutical company?" She met with this person. She'd never met with him before. This is just a person who went to school with her brother. She met with the person and said, "I'm interested in this type of role, this type of position, but I don't know how to sort of cast my resume myself, given that I've never worked at a pharmaceutical company before." He took her resume to one of the people who worked in hiring, and they said, "Oh, this is how she needs to rework her resume. I'm not hiring for that particular position, so there's no conflict here. But these are the kinds of things that we would need her to address if she wanted to come work for us." He took that information back to her. She recast her resume and she ended up getting a job with that pharmaceutical company. So, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we sort of target our attention on two or three people and then become disappointed when those two or three people don't help us, when in fact we need to, I say it's the parable of the sower, right? You're going to throw out lots and lots of seeds. Some are going to land on rocky ground. Some are going to be choked out by weeds. Not all of them are going to come up, but you need to put out as many possible seeds as you can because some are going to be eaten by the birds. So that kind of thing that it's you have to develop over time this process of planting seeds because you never know which one is going to come up and you never know when they're going to come up. But just because, you felt suspicious doesn't mean that everyone feels suspicious.
Okay, great. Do you think, and then you get this question all the time, do you think using the open to work label on a LinkedIn profile actually helps one be recognized and attract recruiters?
Okay, so, recruit for 90% of you, your job opportunity is not going to come from a recruiter. And recruiters don't care whether you have the banner or not. Because if they're trying to fill a position, they don't care whether you have the banner, they don't care whether you have a job. If you fit what they're looking for, they're going to come after you because they get paid when they fill the position. So if it means you leave your current job to go to another job, that's fine with them. They get paid once the position is filled. So having the banner one way or the other is not going to make a difference to a recruiter. If you fit the bill, they're coming after you, banner or no banner. The value of the banner, in my view, is that it lets other people know that you're still looking. And it's much more likely that someone else in your network, not a recruiter, but someone who is a part of your personal network, your professional network, is going to be reminded, "Oh, yes, they're still looking. And this just came across my desk. Oh, yes, I had forgotten that she was looking, but now I remember she is still looking. And let me send this opportunity her way." Or I heard about it because most of us get our jobs from other people telling us about things.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, do you connect to follow educational institutions and companies? For example, college, university I attended, or company I applied to. I seldom see a connect button. I have the free version on LinkedIn.
Yeah, you can follow. Let's see. Am I following Yale? Uh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm following Yale, but let's click on public health. So the way to follow a company is simply just to go to their page and click the follow button. And so if I click that follow button, whatever Yale School of Public Health uh, posts will be automatically on my home feed. When I go to my home feed, their stuff will be there. But usually there's a follow button on every company or university page.
Okay. Um, let's see. Here. How do we circumvent the numerous salespeople on LinkedIn who connect only to bombard us with sales offers, products in our inboxes?
Yeah, so usually, my philosophy is if the first word out of your mouth is, will you buy my, then the answer is no. And there's a little button that says, no, I'm not interested. And all you have to do is click the no, I'm not interested button. Again, that's how LinkedIn makes their money from those people, right? And so we are, you know, a part of, why they're there. They're trying to sell us something. And, again, a quick no is usually enough to get them not to come back to you.
Okay.
You don't have to spend a lot of time. Just hit the little you know, filled out response, the automatic response that no, I'm not interested.
Okay. This is
Now,
a question.
if
Oh,
they continue to come back, if they're not a part of your if they are a part of your network, you can block them so that you know, you can either remove them from your network if you have accepted their invitation to connect. You can, you know, um, unfollow them or block them so that they can no longer reach out to you if they're a first degree connection.
okay. It's the question we get a lot. Should I have a photo on LinkedIn as an older job seeker? I have white hair and I'm worried about ageism.
Yes. The answer is yes. Yes, you should definitely have a photo. Again, we work next to colleagues, right? So I say your photo should be you on your best day. You've had a good night's sleep, your hair is freshly cut, you're well lit. It doesn't have to necessarily be a lot of you've paid a lot of money to a professional photographer. Our camera phones, uh, the phones on our camera have sufficient pixels to get a decent photo as long as you're well lit, standing in front of a blank background, not distracting. You don't want to work for a company that is making important hiring decisions based on hair color. People come in with green hair one day and purple hair the next day. And so if they're making hiring decisions based on your gray hair, that is that is likely a place that's going to be difficult for you to work even once you get the job there. That tells you something about their culture, that they are making important hiring decisions based on hair color. So once you get there, you're probably going to have to deal with ageism as well. So this is not a company you want to work for if they're making decisions like that. The other thing is that if your photo doesn't look like, first of all, if you don't have a photo, photos are expected. So it's almost like, what are you hiding? I can't see your face. How come I can't see your face? But second of all, if you don't look like the photo, now I question everything else you've told me about yourself because you've lied about the way you look.
Okay. Um, when you get let go from your job, should you reflect this in your LinkedIn profile?
Um, you don't want to dwell on it and you don't want to spend time venting and trying to shame the company for making what is usually an economic decision. So you want to really focus on LinkedIn is forward looking. LinkedIn is all about your future. Your resume is your past, your LinkedIn profile is your future. And everything on your LinkedIn profile should be focused on your future, what you want to do next. The past is the past. The question is, you're speaking to your next potential employer and you're telling them what you can do for them. They honestly don't care about your previous employers other only to the degree that you bring them into the conversation. Because what they really want to know is what you can do for me if I hire you. I don't care about those other people. So you should focus your profile not on the past and what happened in the past and who laid you off in the past or why you were dismissed in the past. That's the past. Your LinkedIn profile is about your future, what you are offering to your next employer. Focus on that.
Okay. Would you get different results if you put quotes around cybersecurity, Elise?
Let's see. Oops. Let's go back to this. How did I? Okay. Are you still seeing my LinkedIn profile page?
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
Somehow it uh jumped back to my um PowerPoint presentation. Okay, let me try this again. Okay, and I know we need to be aware of time.
Yes, this will be
Yeah.
will you be able to jump into chat after
Yes,
that? Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. So we will this will be our last question and then I'll tell you where we I just thought this would be something. This was part of your
Looks like it's pretty much coming up the same,
okay.
but that's not a reason not to try it both ways, you
Okay.
know.
Okay. Um okay, so Elise, this has been fabulous. You have